Welcome to today's press briefing. We have two doctors with us. Dr. John Shok-Kwan, Head of Communicable Disease Branch, Center for Health Protection, and Dr. Larry Lee, Chief Manager of Hospital Authority. The two doctors will give us an update on COVID cases and HA situation. Dr. Lee will have the floor. Good afternoon. The HA, as of today, recorded 2,870 patients in our facilities. 342 of them are new patients. For those requiring isolation facilities, 527 are in isolation wards, 202 in second-tier wards, and 608 in Hong Kong North Lantau Hospital, Hong Kong Infections Control Center. As for the AWE treatment facility, there are 243 patients, of whom 242 are new patients. There are 9 new patients in critical conditions. 3 had 3 jabs, 1 had 2 jabs, 1 had 1 jabs, and 4 have no vaccination record. There are 15 patients in critical condition. And among the inpatients, there are 50 in critical condition, 55 in serious condition, and 15 patients in critical condition are in ICUs. As for death cases, we reported 16 cases, 12 males and 4 females, aged 47 to 99. And 7 patients did not complete the 3-dose vaccine regime. 2 were care home residents. So among the 16 deceased patients, we believe 10 of them had causes of death related to COVID, and the 6 others had no correlation with COVID. Let me start with the first 10 cases. The first case, 99-year-old female, no vaccination record, dementia, and lung disease. That's her history, and she was admitted to Tuen Hospital via A&E because of fever and shortness of breath. She tested PCR positive, and according to X-ray examination, she was diagnosed with pneumonia, and she had low blood oxygen level, and she passed away on the 5th of September. And then 86-year-old female, 3 doses of vaccine administered, DM, hypertension, admitted to Queen Mary Hospital via A&E. She was found unconscious at home. She had fever and low blood oxygen level. X-ray revealed pneumonia, and then also passed away on the 5th of September. Third patient, 70-year-old male who lived in the care home. He had 3 doses of vaccine, and he had intestinal cancer. He was admitted to Eastern Hospital because of fever and coughing, and he also tested positive. He had pneumonia. His condition deteriorated rapidly. At about 3 a.m. on the 6th, he passed away. The fourth patient, a 78-year-old male, 2 doses administered. He had the history of stroke and also cancer in the esophagus, and he was admitted to hospital because of fever and coughing. He had pneumonia. He passed away on the 6th of September in the morning. 83-year-old male patient, 3 doses administered. He had atrial fibrillation and Parkinson's disease. He was admitted to Prince of Wales Hospital via A&E because of pneumonia and fever, and he also had renal impairment. On the 6th of September in the morning, he passed away. 6th patient, 87-year-old male care home resident. He had Parkinson's disease. He had 3 doses, and he also had dementia. Before he arrived at the A&E unit, he tested RAT positive. So on hospital admission, he tested PCR positive. He had fever as well. He was transferred to Tai Po Hospital, and then he passed away on the 6th of September. 87-year-old male, 3 doses administered. He had atrial fibrillation and the coronary disease. He was admitted to Tuen Mun Hospital via A&E because of chest pain, or rather United Christian Hospital, and he had pneumonia. He passed away on the 6th. Next, 92-year-old female patient, 2 jabs. She had heart disease and dementia. She was admitted to Caritas Medical Center via A&E because of low blood sugar level and shortness of breath. She tested PCR positive, and her condition deteriorated, and she passed away in the evening of the 6th. And the 9th patient, 84-year-old male who had 3 jabs. He fainted at home, and the ambulance took him to the A&E unit of Tin Shui Wai Hospital. Later, and resuscitation was administered, the heartbeat was resumed, and then X-ray revealed pneumonia. He also tested RAT positive. After being admitted to hospital, his condition deteriorated and he passed away on the 6th of September. 71-year-old male, 2 jabs, admitted to Yanchai Hospital by A&E because of fever and coughing. He had pneumonia and he tested PCR positive, and he passed away in the evening of the 6th of September. Apart from these 10 patients, there are also 6 patients, the causes of death of whom are not believed to be directly related to COVID. 82-year-old female patient who had 2 jabs. She was admitted to Queen Elizabeth Hospital because of fever and coughing, and she came down with COVID, but she had had negative results already. Subsequently, she had a heart failure and renal problem together with sepsis. She passed away. 76-year-old male patient. He had 3 jabs. He had a history of stroke and hypertension. He was admitted to Prince of Wales Hospital because of delusion. According to brain scan, he had a ischemic stroke, and he passed away in the afternoon of the 6th. A 90-year-old male who had 2 jabs. He had adrenaline issues and heart problems. He was admitted to hospital, and he had inflammation in his foot and also fever. He passed away in the afternoon of the 6th. And then a 87-year-old male patient, 2 jabs. He had the history of DM and renal disease. He was admitted to Prince of Wales Hospital A&E unit. He tested PCR positive, and his condition and the development were similar to that of pneumonia instead of COVID. As for the 15th and 16th patients, 47-year-old male, 89-year-old male, both had 2 jabs. They were found unconscious at home. They were sent to A&E unit. They both had history of hypertension. For the 47-year-old male, he was admitted to Queen Mary Hospital. The second patient, Queen Tin Shui Wai Hospital, they tested RAT positive, and despite resuscitation, they passed away on the evening of the 6th of September. As of yesterday, 400 patients have recovered, 349 have recovered, and 4 patients were found to be positive via hospital screening, with 5 in the same ward listed as close contacts. 160 more HA staff have been infected, and 67 have resumed their positions. We'd also like to make an announcement in relation to certain hospitals. For Siu Lam Psychiatric Hospital, the male ward, in the male ward, 1 patient came down with COVID, and we announced it yesterday. Today we found 2 more infected patients and 1 assistant. So altogether 3 patients and 1 HA staff have been infected. There are also 3 sharing the same ward listed as close contacts. Medical ward, geriatric ward of Tuen Mun Hospital, an 85-year-old patient tested positive on the 4th. And upon contact tracing, we have identified 2 more patients, 77-year-old, 94-year-old male patients, and 1 staff member infected with COVID. They are now being isolated. They're in stable condition. Finally, Chung Kwan O Hospital surgical ward, 1 staff member tested positive on the 2nd of September, and our team conducted contact tracing, and upon investigation, we found 2 more patients sharing the same ward being infected. 1 is 70-year-old, the other 94-year-old male patient. All 3 of them are in stable condition. The above said wards have been thoroughly cleansed and disinfected, and with suspended visiting arrangements, we'll continue with investigation.
Good afternoon. Yesterday, we had a total of 10,030 cases. We have RAT 7,112 cases, 140 imported cases, including 144 tested PCR positive and 20 RAT positive. We have 71 cases picked up at the airport. At the quarantine hotels and the quarantine center, we have identified 46 cases. On day 4 and day 7, we identified 43 cases at the quarantine hotels. On day 8 and day 10, we have 4 other cases. So these cases come from 34 places, 5 of which have exported more than 10 cases, including the UK, 24, 17 India, 16 from Philippines, and 15 from Thailand, 15 from the US. The remaining, for the other 29 places, we have imported 10 cases or less. As Dr. Lee said, we have reported 16 death cases. So far during the 5th wave, we have a total number of 9,542 cases. Today, 7 care homes and 4 homes for the handicapped had cases, and we need to quarantine some of the close contacts. Altogether, 15 residents and 1 staff. In total, altogether we have 96, roughly 96, residents and 3 staff will need to be quarantined. As for the schools, we have 799 schools which reported a total of 1,360 cases, which involve 1,400 students and 221 teaching staff. Altogether, they come from 178 kindergartens, 320 primary schools, 285 secondary schools, and 16 special schools. Over the past 7 days, 618 schools have reported 2 cases or more. Today, we have recommended that 22 schools should suspend a total of 24 classes. And this involves 9 kindergartens and nurseries, 9 primary schools, 3 secondary schools, and 1 special school. Also earlier, we have suspended some classes in some schools, and there is one, which is the 香港麥爾文 International School in Tai Po. For this school, in the primary section, we have a total of 30 students and 5 teaching staff who have been confirmed to be infected. Earlier, we already suspended some of their classes. Over the past 7 days, we have 21 classes with cases involving, they have a total of 26 classes, 4 of which had 3 or more cases. For this school, they have 597 students and 87 staff. In total, we have recommended for the school to suspend the entire school for 1 week and involve the primary section. In the Luk Yang 幼稚園, we had earlier suspended 2 of the cases. In the K3C PM session, early on, we have 2 morning classes. For the KC3 primary section, there are 23 students, and 3 of which have been confirmed positive. And we have recommended this class be suspended for 1 week. As for the mutant strain, L453 continue to go up to 70%, and 90% of the cases are BA.5. So the BA.5 mutant strain now makes up about 63% of the cases. 25.5% are BA.4, 5.2 BA.4 is about 7%, 2.1 is about 4.5%. That's all for my report today. We will now take questions. I'm from cable TV. First of all, Dr. Zhong, you refer to the Malvern College. Had that school organize any large-scale activities resulting in such a major outbreak? And secondly, regarding the monkeypox patient, what is the latest situation in respect of this patient? Is his condition stable? Has he been given any medicine? For the Malvern College in Hong Kong, we have not seen any, major gatherings, and there is no epidemiological link found. But since many students are involved, so for the sake of caution, we are recommending the school to be suspended for a week. As for the monkeypox patient, his condition is stable since admitting to the hospital. His condition, I think we've carried out examination, and different doctors treated him and decided that there was no need to administer any special medicine for him. My first question is that earlier this month, the government has extended the scheme for the vaccination for the care homes. So what is the latest situation regarding vaccination at these care homes? Today, we have one deceased patient who had not taken any of the jabs. Why is he not protected by this scheme? Thirdly, for the sewage, inspection, the number of cases have gone up. But why is it that there is no significant increase in the number of cases? Fourthly, for the sewer alarm cases, had the, have they spread to the other, patients? For the vaccination scheme, I believe that the relevant departments are working very hard on this already. Once they have the latest figures, they will make an announcement. As for the sewage, inspection, we see the numbers are going up. Actually, the number of confirmed cases in Hong Kong is steadily going up, and that really correlates with the result of the sewage, inspection. For the Shilam medical ward for men, we have 3 patients and 1 staff confirmed to be infected. So far, we have not found any other patients or wards being involved. Next question, the lady, the man, to the left, AM 370. For the Melbourne College, you said there is 1 staff involved. For the staff who had been infected, is it that the staff himself had some contact? Early on, regarding the 6 death cases, before admitting to the A&E ward, he was tested positive through RAD and was transferred to the Tai Po Hospital. Was he transferred because he had made a recovery, or was it due to other reasons? And lastly, we have some law enforcement action taken. Was that initiated by the Department of Health? Where had the patients gone to? Were the health code scanned and found to be red, or have they been to any areas of high risk? Well, for those 2 care homes, it's not that they have, staff confirmed. It's just that we have some confirmed cases in the hospital, and some of the staff might have some close contact, and that's why they need to be quarantined. So it's not due to the infection of the staff concerned. As for the enforcement regarding the red health code, the usual procedure is that the OGCIO, if they discover people with a red health code who had gone to certain premises where they scan the health code, when it is the OGCIO, once they find that somebody has a red health code, they will have a record which will be sent to the CHF, Center of Health Protection, to see whether these are the people who have actually gone to such premises when they should have been quarantined at home. If that's the case, we will take enforcement action. I'd like to supplement on the question raised regarding Shilam Hospital. This is the ward for the mentally handicapped. And on the 3rd of September, we have 12 patients and 4 staff confirmed positive. We think that these 2, cases are separate and there's no connection. The 87 male who had 3 jabs, perhaps I did not give you too much details. On the 27th of August, he was RAT tested positive. He was, a resident of a care home. He was quarantined at the AWE facility, and subsequently he was taken to the medical ward of the PWH. He had a fever, but the condition was improving. He was subsequently transferred to the Tai Po Hospital, whether it's within the same cluster or it's very common that patients could be transferred to another hospital in the same cluster or another cluster. If a patient had suffered from COVID, they will need to go to these hospitals for recuperation. But it's really regrettable that he passed away subsequently. The lady to the left.
你好。
Economic Times. I'd like to ask about death cases. The 47-year-old and 89-year-old male patients, the causes of death are not believed to be related to COVID. Apart from hypertension, do they have other underlying illnesses? How do you assess the lack of correlation with COVID? And about Eastern Hospital, the pantry, environmental samples have been taken. Do you have the result now? And are there more doctors coming down with COVID? About Melbourne College, Hong Kong, do you know the subvariant involved? Why is there such a major outbreak? And for monkeypox vaccine, how many doses have been procured? When will it be ready? And there should be 2 classes from 2 schools being suspended today. Can you tell us the names of these 2 schools? For Pamela Yu, Nethasol Eastern Hospital, 7 cardiologists have come down with COVID, and there is no other case identified so far. And about the 2 cases received at the A&E unit, the 47-year-old male had 3 jabs. He had DM, heart disease, and hypertension. An 89-year-old male, he had 3 jabs, hypertension, and also intestinal cancer. They were found unconscious at home, so they were sent to hospitals, while A&E, 1 to QMH and 1 to Tin Shui Wai Hospital. They tested positive for COVID. They were intubated at the A&E unit, but unfortunately they passed away. There is no history to suggest that they had illnesses before or that other family members had tested positive. And even if they tested positive, it happened some time ago, and the X-ray examination did not reveal any pneumonia. So our conclusion is that perhaps the causes of death are not directly related to COVID. And we can actually make this comparison. For the 9th case, 89-year-old male who had 3 jabs, who also fainted at home. He was admitted to Tin Shui Wai Hospital on the 2nd of September. But according to the RAT test result, it was positive. And according to X-ray examination, he had early-stage pneumonia. So these are our clinical findings. For the 2 schools, one is, as I mentioned, Luk Yang Kindergarten. Is one of the 24 classes I mentioned. As for the other school with 2, 宣道會秀茂坪 陳榮真幼稚園, the kindergarten PM class in the morning and the afternoon class of pre-nursery classes. These 2 classes were taught by the same teacher, and there are 2 students in these 2 classes respectively coming down with COVID, and 2 teachers as well. So these 2 classes will be suspended. As for the vaccine, we should be able to procure monkeypox vaccine by the end of September. They'll be ready in Hong Kong. As for the number of doses, since it's the first batch of procurement, depending on the circumstances, we can make further procurement. Last question. On the left-hand side, this lady. I'm from Ming Pao. About the 2 deceased patients whose causes of death are not related to COVID, can you tell us the CT values of these 2 cases? And about the clinical assessment of the death cases, how many cases are related to COVID, how many not related to COVID? And also the 87-year-old patient, care home patient, he was sent to AWE for quarantine. Which home did he come from? And do you think that he got infected in the care home? And also, how many beds in the AWE have been commissioned? Because I see over 200 patients have been received. And for Luk Yang Kindergarten, the correlation between the AM class and the PM class. Did any teacher teach both classes? And also the monkeypox patient. Yesterday you mentioned some 80 passengers on the same flight. Did anyone contact CHP on their own initiative showing concern, or did the CHP contact these passengers? For the 2 patients at A&E unit, I don't have information at hand, save that they tested RT positive. For the 87-year-old care home patient, we do not have information as to which home he came from. Now, I'd like to say something about the Asia World Expo. We've increased the beds available at AW from 200 to 240, but you see that our number has actually exceeded 240 because of the demand, and our colleagues have been doing their level best so as to walk the extra mile and help more patients. We also have this plan. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, we'll continue to make more beds available so as to alleviate the pressure on other hospital clusters. For the flight PR38300 with a monkeypox patient on board, we would contact the carrier and the passengers and tell them to watch out for symptoms. As for the Luk Yuan Kindergarten, the PM and AM classes have no correlation so far. That's the end of today's briefing.